Okay, so this is gonna be one of those videos where I usually don't really talk about on this channel because it's one of those, it's extremely silly, but I do want to bring it up because there are articles coming out and just talk about this particular situation or controversy. So now before I begin the video, I do want to say that don't take this video to heart. Don't take this video seriously.
I got you, homie.
Regardless of these controversies, and yes, even when it comes to the yellow paint, I really don't care about it. I genuinely don't. As long as the game is good, I really don't care about the yellow paint. I'm a 90s kid, so I grew up without it. And, you know, at the same time, as I grew older, when these things started to come into our games, I grew accustomed to it. So I really don't have a stance specifically. I'm just straight in the middle. Okay, so let's talk about one of the biggest controversies in Resident Evil and possibly gaming right now at the moment. Is it excessive microtransactions that can seem a bit predatory to its consumers and are going to ask themselves, well, okay, so what is the problem exactly? What is the deal with the yellow paint? Who cares about the yellow paint? And well, I have an answer to that as well. And the answer is, well, it's simple too. A lot of people don't like the forced hand holding that these games do provide. While the yellow paint doesn't bother me in particular, like I said in the beginning of the video, I can see how annoying it can be to the immersion of a game. I don't dislike the yellow paint's purpose, even though I'd love an option to just shut them off completely because, you know, it's yellow paint. I don't really need it. I just wish these types of designs would actually fit to the universe or moment we're in. For example, in Resident Evil 4 Remake, instead of yellow paint, why not just include blood? Or the game showing the merchant just pointing the way where you need to go. I don't know, something that fits into the universe currently. It would just be like, hey, stranger, go this way.
What?
So in the older Resident Evil games, we didn't really need these visual cues to know exactly where to go. Everything was either by memorization, a mark on a map, a document left somewhere, a description of an item, or just straight up trial and error. And I specifically wanted to read this part of a document to you guys that I stumbled across last year, and I can probably give you a more in-depth answer as to why these things are happening to games. Again, I don't have a problem with them, but I can honestly give you a reason why this is happening and why this article is actually relevant to what's going on in gaming today. And it says, a recent study has found that 60% of gamers have become less interested in strategy games over the past 9 years. What happened there? Why is there a decline in strategy games all of a sudden? So strategic thinking is currently on a decline because we now live in a short form content era. Things like TikTok, things like YouTube Shorts. People want to get straight to the point right away. So if they find themselves stuck in a particular area for way too long, people might get bored. People might quit the game entirely. Obviously, these documents do not represent the Resident Evil community as a whole, but as a creator, I do see a couple of things here and there. And the things I do see is I do see a lot of players come out and say that they do like the more casual, friendly approach to the newer Resident Evil games as opposed to their older counterparts, where things were a lot more difficult. So developers invented the yellow paint to keep that pace going. Why is it only yellow paint, or is just a universal language for players, you know, basically can get familiarized with when playing a game? When people see yellow paint, they can automatically assume like, oh, okay, this is where we need to go now. But it's always been about the pacing in gaming when it comes to a lot of casual games. Resident Evil has always been about strategic thinking, and because of the decline, we're now getting mechanics that require a lot less thinking, like the yellow paint. And also there are now journalists coming out and saying that they now dislike the idea of yellow paint, but you can't even trust them either because, well, these were the same people that were complaining about games like Elden Ring not having these mechanics provided to them from the beginning. But if they want to keep these mechanics, I'm perfectly fine with that. The yellow paint is not like the end of the world for me. Do I wish there was an option to turn it off because I want to use my brain once in a while? Of course. Are there times where I don't want to use my brain and want to use the yellow paint once in a while? Of course, which is why there should be an option to either shut it off or leave it on, whichever it may be. But in my stance, I feel like if you are going to keep a mechanic like that, I feel like it should be something relevant to the world, because why is there yellow paint in Salazar's castle when nothing is yellow? That to me just I just don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. But again, these aren't necessarily facts. These are just my theories of why these mechanics are happening in gaming in general. But hopefully we get an option to, you know, have more customizable options for these types of things so we can all be happy. But let me know in the comments, are you bothered by the yellow paint? why or why not? If you like the content, make sure to like the video, and if you are new to the channel, welcome, and be sure to subscribe. And most importantly, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next time. Please be safe out there, and peace.